So thank you guys for all coming and sitting down and spending the next 3 hours of your afternoon with me. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm going to talk to you about Feeding South Dakota today and what that is. I know when you guys first think of South Dakota and maybe the needs of the state and whatnot, you know, hunger doesn't come to mind when you think of South Dakota, but I'm going to share some statistics with you to kind of set this up a little bit. But so 13.7% of individuals in South Dakota live at or below the poverty line. Another stat, 1 out of 8 individuals in South Dakota are what they are called food insecure. And what that is, that's a USDA measurement. If say if a family or a person they don't have enough food for an active, healthy lifestyle. So 1 in 8 people in South Dakota fall at that level. Nearly 50% of the people that Feeding South Dakota serve are children or infants as well. So it's hitting a wider range. So hunger is a big problem in South Dakota, something that doesn't readily come to mind when you think of South Dakota. But so what is Feeding South Dakota? Well, it started in 1975. It was started by the Sioux Falls Ministerial Association. It was a very simple vision at first. It was basically to provide food for people who were in need, just a place where they can get groceries. That was basically their vision. And it really hasn't changed much in the last 43 years with that, basically providing services and food for people who don't have it necessarily. How do they do that? A couple of the programs that they do, they have what they call a food bank. You've probably all heard of a food bank or a food pantry. There's a difference in there. A food bank is a large facility, basically a warehouse. And what they do with that is different organizations and whatnot, they store their food in Feeding South Dakota storage unit, and then they work with 350 nonprofit partners to distribute that for maybe relief aid or something like that, if there was an emergency or people who need the food. So it's all stored there. It's a very large facility. They also have food pantries, which would serve more of the individuals. Single mothers would be one, senior citizens another. Basically, anybody who has a need, even an adult would come in. If they had a need for food, they could come to the food pantry. They would be able to get food through Feeding South Dakota. Another one is they really advocate for childhood hunger, and they fight against that. There's 3 different programs that go along with that. The first one is the backpack program, and what that does is that provides at-risk children who won't have enough food. The backpack program, the state of South Dakota, they provide food for low-income and families and children at school, so they do have food, but where that gap is met is they don't have food on the weekends or holiday breaks. So they do get food during the week, and that's where Feeding South Dakota steps in. They have the backpack program where the children that are on these reduced lunches, they get this food for the weekend, they bring that home, or for different holiday breaks when they wouldn't go to school and normally get food. So another one is very similar to, it's a school, basically a school food pantry. It's the same thing as a public food pantry like we talked about earlier, only it's set up in different schools. It makes it, there's a slight stigma with food pantries, so it makes it easier for those families with children to kind of alleviate some of that. They actually come to the school and they can pick up food to take home as well. Another program, which is kind of personal to me and my family, is called the Summer Climb Program. And I'll kind of tell the backstory behind that, but it's basically a summer school program. The city of Sioux Falls, they did some test scores and they were scoring lower than the state average, and so they came up with a pilot program as far as a summer school for 1st through 3rd graders. I have 2 twin boys that are going to be going into the 3rd grade. Their school qualified for that. So they get to go to school. But Feeding South Dakota, they cover that gap for snacks and different benefits throughout that summer climb program as well. So it benefits those children in order to help get the grades up throughout the summer. They don't lose what they've learned. So as you can see, Feeding South Dakota, they branch out in many different ways to help combat the hunger in South Dakota. And that's all I have for you today.
Are you okay? Any questions?